Hello everyone, this is Joe Sport. Just wanted to make a quick video. I got a couple of questions about how exactly I make lineups. Now, I do have a video that I go into detail on how to determine a good matchup for a particular player and whatnot, and then how to just make that list. But people wanted to know why do I decide to go with a certain player versus another and whatnot. Well, okay. Today, the 4 o'clock slate, which starts in a few minutes, this morning was doing some Christmas shopping, but this is, I went with the 4 o'clock slate because there's only 2 games. Okay, now, first thing I do is I get the Vegas spread, okay? Now, and then I look at the score. Packers 28, Cowboys 17, Raiders 20, Broncos 27. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll write the quarterbacks in order of who's going to score most. So we have Rodgers, 28, and then obviously the next guy would be Osweiler, then Carr, then Castle. Then I write down who they're playing against versus. Then, right after the Vegas lineup, what I'll do is I'll write down the best passing defense, and I'll write down the 10 teams. Top 10 passing defenses and the 10 worst. I only wrote 3 here, but for the sake of space, this is what I do, right? And then I do the same thing for running, okay? I also do the same thing for total offense and total defense, okay? And there's a few other charts, but I get crazy with it. But just to keep it simple right now, that's what I do, okay? That's a good basic to do. I like to add totals, team totals and whatnot, but what have you. So then I'll write down who they're playing against, these quarterbacks, and I'll write down the match. If they're playing against one of the top 10 teams on defense, passing defense, I'll go ahead and I'll put an R, right? Red. It's tough matchup, good passing defense, and I'll write the weather. So you got here Rodgers playing a tough team against the pass, and now we got rain. Wind brings down passing percentage, the times they pass, and once it goes above 12 miles per hour, it starts going down drastically. And so we've got rain, and rain obviously is another factor. Now we've got clear here, and we got a green, meaning he's going against a pass defense that's in the worst 10. Yellow, Y is for yellow. That means right in the middle, okay? So now, just at a glance, I know who has a favorable matchup and the weather, because these are contributing factors. Okay, I want to go with the guy that has the best matchup and who's going to throw the ball the most. You want to increase your percentage. There's nothing guaranteed, but we're playing a numbers game, right? We want to increase our odds. So now running back versus, same thing. Now we've got best run, worst run, and let's see. We've got some guys right down the middle. Nobody has a really great matchup here. We've got a bad one, clear weather. But remember, when it rains, what happens? They start running the ball. So we got to keep that in mind, all right? So this is pretty much nuts and bolts of what I do. And tight end, you want obvious, and you want to, you know who the wide receivers are. I'll do the same thing for wide receivers, obviously. I'll make that list, who they're playing, who has a favorable matchup, blah, blah, blah. Same deal. I don't have space to show all that, but that's what you're going to do. Same thing with running backs. And kickers, I like to look at weather. It's a crapshoot for kickers. So if you want to go, I like to pay down. I don't like to pay up so much for kickers. Now for defense, I will pay up for defense depending. So in this situation, let's see. Quarterback. He's a red rain. It's a double whammy. I'm not gonna really go with Rodgers. He's at home. He could throw for 400 yards, but I'm just looking at numbers wise, and a lot of people. That's ownership. Is another thing you need to think about. You look at these names. Rodgers is probably going to be the number 1 owned guy there. Everybody is not. I don't want to say everybody, but he's going to be the highest owned. So especially with a slate with just 2 games, you want to be different. You want to have that dude that it's lower owned that outperformed the higher owned player, obviously. In this case, he's got a good matchup, Osweiler, clear weather, no rain. Me personally, I like Osweiler. So I would punch in Osweiler as my quarterback. Then obviously his wide receiver. I like to stack wide receivers. So with quarterback, so I would go Demaryius Thomas, and I don't have a lot of options. There's only 2 games. I don't personally like playing this slate because of the limited options. But in this case, you could do a double stack of Sanders. I like that. But if you don't want to do that and you want to go with the masses a little bit, you can go with the Cobb instead of Sanders. I can't blame you either way. Now, so now we've got two wide receivers, whichever way you go, and then we've got another wide receiver to go with, and I went with Dez Bryant, which you could, instead of Dez Bryant, you could put in Cobb in Dez Bryant's spot if you wanted to. Now, Dez Bryant, Matt Castle is going against the Packers. It's raining, so again, that's good. You have to think about that too. The matchup isn't horrible, it's right down the middle. So yeah, if you wanted to get ahead and cross out Dez Bryant because of whatever reason, you can put Cobb in there. But remember, who's going to be the higher owned player, Dez Bryant or Cobb? Cobb is probably going to be the higher owned player. Dez Bryant hasn't played to his what's expected of him. Cobb, people are going to remember what he's done. Cobb is at home. Aaron Rodgers throwing to him. People are going to play Cobb. With this slate of only 2 games, I want to be a little bit different. I want to go a little bit riskier. We're not doing, we want to win the big money. Maybe not. If it was 50-50, I'd probably be not so risky. But I would definitely be a little bit different, a little bit risky, and go with the Dez Bryant. Be different. Let's go crazy today, Let's try to make $1 million. So, or whatever the not $1 million, but the top prize. But if you want to be a little bit safer and go with Cobb, that's cool too. Now we've got Rodgers. Rodgers is my favorite tight end. He's gonna run tight end routes. It's as you see, it's a bad weather, tough matchup. Tight end route, short dump off passes. It's fitting his game right there. So I see Rodgers in a good spot right there. And then now for the kicker, pay up for McManus. Definitely the best kicker available, and you're gonna have tons of money because there isn't much to choose from. So I paid up for McManus, and now everybody is gonna go Packers. Broncos, should I say? Broncos is the best defense, and they're at home. Packers defense at home. At home. Okay, I just messed that all up. The popular pick is going to be Broncos defense, okay? Broncos defense is going against Carr. You've got Cooper, you've got Crabtree. They could go ahead and break the 13-point mark, and you don't get those bonus points. Now, I go Packers. I would go Packers because Packers isn't going to be as a popular play, and their ceiling is pretty high. They're going against Matt Castle, the king of pick sixes, and I love at-home defenses that are going against second string quarterbacks. I love going for those guys, especially in a situation like this when I'm deciding between Broncos defense or Packers defense. You can go Broncos defense, but as I said, that's going to be the popular pick. So the people that win these things, they go and they pick those guys that are lower owned that outperform the higher owned players. So this is just what I would do to try to win the GPP. Okay, so I would pick a lineup, something like that. If you want to be a little bit safer, I could totally understand Cobb in there, and I could totally understand Broncos defense. So this is pretty much the nuts and bolts, what goes behind it. Obviously, it's a lot more time consuming when you have all the lineups, all the games, every player in there, and you're going through and you're trying to make matches and whatnot. But So this is to answer those questions for all of you that have asked. So this is it, and that's just a sample lineup that I will do for this. Okay, so if you want to go with this, I'm gonna post this video, and hopefully you guys get to it as soon as possible. Get to see it before the start of the game. All right, let me do this as soon as possible. All right, good luck.